Lizzy always hated Thanksgiving. She knew it made her sound like a terrible person, but it was true. For one thing, there was always too much food. Turkey on top of mashed potatoes, on top of dressing, on top of baked yams with marshmallows, all swimming in thick gravy. After 3 bites, she felt her stomach begin to dangerously rebel. And then there was her family. They drove her crazy when they all got together. Her Aunt Jess, a big booming sort of woman, took over the entire affair and bossed everyone around, while her husband, Uncle Dan, told one bad groaner joke after another. During the meal, her mother watched her carefully with a greasy eye, ready to pounce if Lizzy said anything she deemed remotely inappropriate, while her father, beaten into submission by her mother years ago, sat quietly in a corner and tried to remain inconspicuous. Her sister Anne, whom she'd never gotten along with, showed up with her husband and their 15 kids. Well, she only had 3 kids, but Lizzy thought they made enough noise and trouble for 15. And then there was her Grandpa James. He was, to put it plainly, a mean old man. He constantly pointed out everybody's faults, complained about every detail of the meal, and was a chain smoker. And then there were the inevitable arguments, usually over politics. Lizzy was amazed they didn't degenerate into food fights. So, Lizzy steered clear of Thanksgiving. As soon as she had the opportunity, she moved halfway across the country to avoid it, and her family. Then one day, several weeks before Thanksgiving, she got a call from her mother. "Your grandmother is dying," her mother announced abruptly. "She died years ago," sighed Lizzy. "Not your dad's mother," she retorted impatiently. "My mother, your Nana Belle." Lizzy stared, stunned. Her Nana Belle was a treasure during her childhood years. She lived on a farm out in the country, and Lizzy used to go and stay several weeks every summer with her. Nana let her feed the chickens, swim in the pond, and run wild in the fields. And Nana baked her own bread. In her mind, Lizzy could still smell the appetizing aroma that filled that farmhouse. Lizzy hadn't seen her since she started high school. Her grandmother was a bit of a recluse, which was one of the reasons Nana Belle never attended the dreaded Thanksgivings past. Lizzy thought the other reason was that she secretly disliked the family as much as Lizzy did. It turned out that Nana Belle had been diagnosed with lung cancer. She'd beaten it, but the chemo treatments had weakened her heart. It was operating on only 20%. Because of the cancer, the doctors couldn't put in a pacemaker until a year had passed. There was nothing anyone could do. She was dying a slow death. "I want you to go with me to spend Thanksgiving with her," said her mother. "She asked for you especially." Before Lizzy could make an excuse, her mother added, "It will just be the 3 of us." Lizzy agreed to go. Weeks later, her mother picked her up from the airport, and from there the 2 of them drove to Nana Belle's. "What's Dad doing for Thanksgiving?" asked Lizzy. "He's staying home. Said he wanted a quiet one to himself this year. Jess invited him to her house, but he said no. I can't imagine why." Lizzy could. Good for Dad, she thought. She and her mother didn't speak much for the rest of the 3-hour drive. Nana Belle's house was hidden by trees until you turned a corner. Then you saw it neatly tucked in behind a split cane fence that ran beside it. A large red barn peeked over its shoulder like a curious stepsister. Lizzy wondered if the horse, the 2 pigs, and the chickens were still there. As the car slowed, she saw Nana's flower garden was done for the season, but she could see a few brave, straggling sunflowers nodding to the sun. And the large vegetable garden held nothing but some pumpkins that hadn't been harvested yet. She wondered if they ever would be, and the thought made her sad. Lizzy's mother parked the car, they retrieved their suitcases, and entered the old farmhouse. Nana Bell was standing in her living room waiting to greet them. She smiled very slightly. Lizzy took her hands at once, then hugged her tight. Her mother stood back awkwardly, as though unsure how to greet Nana Bell. Lizzy thought it was typical that when she finally found her voice, it was to inquire about her mother's medications. No, "Hi, Mom," or "I'm so glad to see you." Her mother had never been very demonstrative. That night, Lizzy made soup, and the three sat down to a simple meal. Her mother and Nana didn't seem to have much to say to one another, so it was left to Lizzy to try and create some sort of conversation. The atmosphere felt strained. She went to Nana's room to say goodnight, but stopped before entering. She watched as Nana gazed sadly at her reflection in a mirror, looking at a life that was fast slipping away. Knowing there was nothing she could say, Lizzy crept quietly away. The next morning was the day before Thanksgiving. Fog cloaked the world in mist. Feeling shut in, Lizzy slipped on a coat and went for a walk. She felt all alone in the misty world, and it occurred to her that she had always felt alone, even when surrounded by other people. She wondered if Nana Bell had felt that way too, and she thought it was probably true. Nana Bell's husband had died when her mother was only 10, and she'd never remarried. She raised her daughter on her own and ran the farm by herself. When she returned to the house, she was informed by her mother that they needed to get started at once on preparations for the next day's feast. Lizzy thought it was ridiculous to go to all that trouble for just the three of them, but she knew her mother would win that argument, so she didn't bother to object. She spent the day in the kitchen trussing a turkey, putting together dressing, peeling potatoes, and baking a pie. Nana Bell didn't have the energy to help them. She sat off in a room by herself, reading old letters and looking at old photos. In the late afternoon, Nana came into the kitchen but didn't seem much interested in their activities. Lizzy saw her standing at the kitchen window looking at something outside. "What are you looking at, Nana?" she asked. "My bell," the old woman said slowly. Lizzy joined her and looked outside. Hanging on a tree between two wind chimes was a metal bell. It swayed slightly in an unseen breeze. "What is that?" Lizzy asked. "My husband, your grandfather, was a metal worker. Did you know that?" Lizzy shook her head. "Ray made that bell for me after we were married," she continued. "Strange thing, though. Never rings. No matter how it's tossed about by the wind, it's always silent." "Maybe it needs a new clapper," Lizzy ventured. "No," said Nana, "that's not it. I've replaced it several times. It just doesn't want to ring. After he died, I used to ask Ray to come and ring it to let me know he was still near." She looked sad, but he never did. She paused. "Doesn't matter anymore. I'll be with him soon enough." Not knowing what to say, Lizzy squeezed her hand. Nana squeezed it back. Thanksgiving arrived. The table groaned with food. Lizzy put up a cheerful face for Nana's sake and ate more than was comfortable. Nana picked at her plate. Lizzy's mother was the only one who seemed to have an appetite for the feast. After the meal, they put everything away and did the dishes. Then her mother set up an ancient projector and they sat down to watch old family films. But Nana tired quickly, so Lizzy helped her to bed. When she returned, she found her mother crying. Lizzy sat down beside her. "What's wrong, Mom?" "I'm so sorry, Lizzy," her mother said through tears. I'm afraid I haven't been a very good mother. I never hugged you enough or told you how proud I am of you. I I don't know why. It's just hard for me to show my feelings like that. Lizzy looked down, not sure what to say, and her mother stroked her shoulder. I love you, honey. Her mother got up and looked out the window. I love Nana, too. Very much. I don't think I ever said it to her, though. And now I'm losing her. She began to cry again. Lizzy rose and went to her mother. She hugged her tightly. So tell her before we leave. I think she'd want to hear it. With that hug, Lizzy suddenly saw her mother in another way, that she wasn't really the cold woman that Lizzy thought she was. The next morning, her mother closeted herself with Nana in her bedroom for a long time. Lizzy never knew whether she told her grandmother that she loved her. Her mother never mentioned it again to her. Lizzy went for another walk. She roamed around the barn and fields, remembering the carefree days of her childhood and how happy she had been here with Nana. Finally, she and her mother had to say goodbye. Lizzy had to get back to her job. She gave Nana a tight hug and knew that this would be the last time she saw her. Her eyes were filled with tears. Nana whispered in her ear, "Death comes to us all in the end. But life goes on for those after us. And I want yours to be full and happy. Live well, child." 3 months later, Nana Bell died. Several weeks after the funeral, a package arrived for Lizzy from her mother. She opened it to find the bell her grandfather Ray had made. There was a note from Nana Bell with it. It read, "People may pass from this life, but their love remains behind. Keep this bell, given to me as a token of love, and now it passed to you as a reminder of that." Smiling sadly, Lizzy hung the bell outside her front door. She was about to turn away when it swayed back and forth, even though there wasn't a breeze. The bell began to ring. Lizzy smiled. Thanksgiving had been her gift of seeing Nana Bell a last time, of forgiving her mother, and seeing the promise given by those of the past. And that was something to be truly thankful for.